What is can't victim? And why is it such a problem for us as women in a marriage to a good man? So living in can't victim is looking outside of ourselves and pointing the finger out, in this context, pointing the finger out to our husbands, finding fault in our husbands, finding the negative things we perceive them to be doing that are causing our unhappiness in the marriage. And living in can't victim, there can be no accountability. Can't victim is the antithesis of accountability. It's a way to avoid accountability and looking at ourselves and taking responsibility. So we live in a false, self-created reality focused on our husbands and constantly looking outside of ourselves to why they are the problem in the marriage, why they are the one creating the issues and problems, and blaming them for our unhappiness in the relationship. This is such a problem for us as women in a marriage to a good man, because when we live in can't victim blaming our husbands, we effectively degrade their sense of self by constantly making them wrong, constantly viewing them as the problem. And that weakens a good man to where he gets sucked into the gaslighting, which is what we do from can't victim, gaslight our husbands to make them believe that they are the problem. And a good man is vulnerable and susceptible to believing his wife's perspective and her perception of the issues in the relationship, and believing that his wife is correct and right, that he is the problem. And it causes a good man to become very weak in himself and emasculated. Then, as women, our husband's response, reaction, and changes in his personality and demeanor in the relationship as a result of us blaming them and emasculating them, take those changes in him, those reactions and responses to us, and use it as further ammo as to why he's the problem. Because in can't victim, we have no self-awareness to see ourselves, how we are showing up, and how we are the ones creating the problem. This video is brought to you by the Autoimmune Expert, our sister company where we teach people to permanently heal from autoimmune diseases and chronic illnesses without the need for medications, supplements, food diets, or mind-body interventions. So if you or a family member is struggling with an autoimmune disease or chronic illness and you're frustrated with your Western or alternative medical program of symptom management, please click the link above to schedule your free consultation to start your healing journey. And also check out the links in the description below to sign up for our free Autoimmune 101 course and visit the Autoimmune Expert YouTube channel. Our programs are truly profound and amazing in their abilities to permanently heal autoimmune diseases and chronic illnesses. Generally, good men do not live in can't victim in a marriage. They're not victims. Good men in a marriage want to take responsibility, generally want to make their wives happy. They know they are not perfect. They are the first to admit that they make mistakes, but they're problem solvers. They want to talk things out and come to a reasonable compromise and solution to the problems and the issues. They're not looking to blame their wives. They're not looking to point out why she's the problem and she's to blame. His orientation is, let's solve the problems and have a good working ability to solve the problems in our marriage and have a healthy, happy marriage. That's what a good man wants. It's our orientation as women in a marriage. We want to live in can't victim blaming our husbands so that we don't have to look at ourselves. The problems persist and we can continue to absolve ourselves of any kind of accountability or responsibility, which we view as emotionally painful and vulnerable and makes us wrong. So we can't see very easily as women when we make mistakes or we're contributing to a problem that is part of life, part of a marriage, part of being a human being. We perceive any fault or contribution to the problems are on our end, that we are fundamentally wrong and the worst person on earth. That's how we perceive having to look at ourselves. And so we avoid that at all costs, which is why we live in camp victim, blaming our husbands. This is another reason I like to add this in, that this is another reason why marriage counseling and the marriage books that we read don't work, because they do not take into account the dynamics of a good man and a woman in a marriage, where a good man is trying to solve the problems and look for solutions to the problems, and a woman is stuck in blame, viewing her husband through a negative lens of how he is the problem and has no interest in solving the problem, because then her unhappiness would be on her shoulders and she couldn't point the finger out at her husband any longer. Marriage counseling and the marriage books out there in general are teaching codependency of what are the problems one spouse is having, that the other spouse needs to do something different to change the other's experience, which is codependency. I need you to be something for me to feel okay and be happy in the marriage. And if you're not doing those things, then I'm unhappy. That's codependency. And codependency lives in camp victim. My emotional state, my experience is dependent on how you are showing up or not showing up that creates my experience. That's victim. That's how we end up in blame. And it is disastrous and completely destructive to a marriage. And that's why I teach the psychology of relationships, that every relationship is a reflection of me. I am the problem because I'm the only person that I have any control over to change. For those women listening who know you are the problem and want a path forward to change your woman ways and truly be happy in yourself, I have a course for women called the Happiness Program. This course will teach you to take control of your emotional state and move from camp victim to camp take responsibility, so that you are empowered to be the solution to the issues in your marriage and life. You can click the link above to learn more about the course and apply for a free consultation with me. You can also find a link below to sign up for my free Happiness 101 course. For the good men listening who want a way to take your power back that you have unknowingly given away to your wife, I also have a course for you called the Marriage Rescue Course for Good Men Only. This course will teach you how to rebuild your strength and confidence so that you can navigate the relationship with your wife in a healthy, constructive way. You can also click the link above to learn more about the course and apply for a free consultation with me. Thank you again, and I will see you all soon.